Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Scott's Selections here for Monday, June 3rd. Before we get into the play of the day, we'll quickly recap what happened yesterday. We ended up picking up a nice win on the play of the day with the Kyle Lowry under 15.5 points on the player prop at minus 115 on Bovada. For some different lines available at different books, I know 5 Dimes had it at 14.5, but I know that Bovada had it at 15.5, so that's the line we ended up going with, and that ended up winning. At 13, game went exactly the way that I thought it would for Lowry. Offensively, he didn't really do much, and we also mentioned how he was so content with trying to draw charges that he could potentially get into foul trouble, and that's exactly what happened as he fouled out of the game with roughly 5 minutes to go. So we ended up getting a nice winner there, but we're not going to get complacent. We're going to look for another winner today, and we have arguably the smallest sports card in the entire calendar today, as you have 4 baseball games, 1 already started, and 1 hockey game, and nothing else. So with that being said, we're going to dive right into the play of the day, and we're going to be looking at the Bruins and the Blues in Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And in terms of this game, we are going to have to go with the Bruins here, which are available at plus 101 on Heritage. So I'd recommend grabbing that now, as money has continuously come in on the Bruins lately. Now, the main reason why we like the Bruins in this one has to do with what we've seen so far in the series itself. And right now, the Bruins have looked like the far superior team. Going into the Stanley Cup, I said the Bruins would win in 5, and I still think that that is going to happen in this series. Props to the Blues for actually winning their first Stanley Cup game in franchise history, but they needed overtime in order to beat the Bruins in Game 2 on the road, and they were also behind the majority of the game that had to come back. So for me, last game was definitely a sign of things to come for me for the Blues, as they ended up getting destroyed 7-2. It was their first home playoff game in the Stanley Cup in roughly 50-something years, and they lost by 5 goals. And to make matters worse, they also gave up a ton of power play opportunities, and the Bruins ended up going 4 for 4 on the power play. So Bruins ended up going 4 for 4 on the power play. So overall, I have to assume that the Bruins will continue their, solid power play performances, and the Blues have committed way too many mistakes. Bennington has been great all playoffs long, but he actually got pulled for the first time in his career last game. Rightfully so, he gave up 5 goals and roughly 15 shots, but the defense hasn't looked good. The Bruins have looked like the more physical team. They've looked like the deeper team. They have the better goalkeeper right now in Tuukka Rask. And right now, home ice, I don't think really means much, because St. Louis knows deep down that they're not only going to have to win a game at home, but they're also going to have to win a game in Boston in order to get a home ice advantage, back. So for that reason, as far as I'm concerned, I have to lean to the Bruins, and they're going to be the play of the day here. I understand that hockey is very tough to predict, but personally, I think St. Louis won their one game. I think Boston took their foot off the gas a little bit. Couple of blunders by Marchand in Game 2. They cleared those up for Game 3, and the Bruins absolutely demolished them from start to finish. I would not be surprised to see the Bruins come out again and punch them in the mouth, and I think that the Bruins will get the job done here. So I think it'll be as high scoring as Game 3. Of course not. I think the Blues will show more focus defensively. But in terms of the total here, total's at 5.5. I'd lean to the over still, especially with some empty netters late. But I would not be surprised to see this game start out relatively slowly in terms of goals. I think the first period under 1.5 could have some value on it, because I expect the Blues to play a lot more conservatively after getting the doors blown off in Game 3. But eventually, I think the Bruins will be too much to handle. I think Marchand and Bergeron, even the defensive core with Krug and McAvoy, I just think they're too deep. And I think that the Bruins will win this game by a score of roughly 4-2. So I will be leaning to the Bruins as the play of the day on that one. How's it going, Michael? Thanks for joining us. You didn't really miss much. We just said the play of the day would be on the Bruins money line, which is available at plus 101 on Heritage. That is the line we're going to go with. Moving on, you have the Cubs right now. We're up 2-0 in that game. I mean, Cubs were a minus 170 favorite, so there wasn't much value on that anyway. Moving on, you have the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. I will lean to the Dodgers there with Buehler on the mound, roughly a minus 144. Ray did not pitch well in his last start, and Buehler has been fantastic this season. Plus, the Dodgers just swept the Phillies over the weekend. So I personally think the Dodgers are in solid form, and I would lean to the Dodgers to get the job done there. And it also lead to the over 8.5 but stronger lean to the Dodgers. Moving on, you have the Astros and the Mariners with Martin versus Guillen. Money's coming on the Astros. They open up minus 130, up to roughly minus 140 in most spots. Still taking the Astros. I don't really care. I mean, I explained the whole weekend how everybody kept taking the A's in terms of money pouring in on the A's, and I didn't care because I knew that Houston was the better team, and Houston swept. So same thing here. The Mariners, ever since their fantastic starts of the season, have been, in terms of record-wise, probably the worst team in baseball. They are awful, and their bullpen's terrible, and overall, Martin's actually been pretty good so far in his young MLB career. I expect the Astros to continue playing well. I think the Astros will win this game. I actually lean to the Astros minus 1.5. I think the Astros will win this game pretty handily, so that will be my lean on that one. Moving on, you have the Phillies versus the Padres with Nola versus Lauer, and I still lean to the Phillies here at roughly minus 137 on Just Bet. Overall, Padres just lost their last 2 games to the Marlins. Phillies just got swept by the Dodgers, but Nola's undefeated in all of his starts of the season, and Lauer has been pretty solid. He was good against the Yankees in his last start, but I'm not going against Nola, who was an NL Cy Young contender last year, and the Phillies have done well when he is on the hill, so I will personally lean to the Phillies there. So the play of the day will be on the Bruins money line at plus 101, and my baseball leans are on the Dodgers, the Astros money line, and the Astros minus 1.5, and the Phillies money line as well. And just a quick reminder before we end the video, we will talk about our brief sponsor with PointsBet, online sportsbook from New Jersey, and they have a couple of great deals for you. They still have the up to 2 risk-free bets of up to $1,000. So if you end up betting on anything and lose, you get your money back. And you also have the NBA Finals deal, which is that if the team you bet on is up after 3 quarters and they lose, then you end up winning the bet anyway. And you also have the Stanley Cup deal, which is that if the team you bet on is up by 2 goals at any point, you end up winning the bet automatically and don't have to worry about your team potentially choking a lead. With that being said, there should be a video coming out later. I have to look at the tennis. I know that there was some French Open matches today that I was not able to cover, but overall, I'm going to look at the card tomorrow, whether it's Challenger, whether it's French Open, and I will look for some selections for all of you. But with that being said, that's going to do it for this installment of Scott's Selections here for Monday, June 3rd. Yeah, you're welcome, Terry. Glad we were all able to catch something there. With that being said, good luck to all of you and your respective bets today on this very limited card. Bye, everyone.